Welcome to Google Jamboard, an interactive space that looks pretty similar to Google Slides, but allows you to create really fun, collaborative, and interactive activities for your students. In this video, I'm going to be first just showing you some examples of Jamboards, and all of these will be available for templates if you'd like to use them. And then we'll actually go through and talk about how do we create our own Jamboards, how do we share those with students, and what are some options that we have. Let's get started. So in this first example here, you can see that my students would be making the number 215, and they've got some number blocks over here. This would probably be an activity that I would have the students all have their own copy of, and then they can interact with it individually. So on this one, they would click on this hundreds block here, and they can click and drag those, and these activities work great on the iPad as well as the Chromebook. And then I can do the same thing with my ones then. So the students would be moving these ones blocks in there. And then maybe I have set up a couple different activities for the students to do, and all they would need to do then is go to the next slide and they could, work on the next number. The next activity that I want to show you is maybe something that you might do during a Google Meet. So you're going to be meeting as a class and you want to go through your morning meeting calendar, what you would normally be doing in the class. So today happens to be August 31st. And then right in here, I can't type right in there, but I can add a little text box over this. And I'm going to type in there, today is Monday. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. And yesterday was Sunday. So again, something that maybe I'm reviewing with the students as part of our Google Meet. And there might be more activities that go along with this morning meeting calendar. Just as a little preview, we have some, what's the weather today, the season, days of school, all of those sort of activities within this morning meeting calendar. Again, this is something that you could present during Google Meet and have the students participate in it there. Let's say I want to do a quick check-in with my students. So I'm going to check in with them. I'm actually going to share this Jamboard so that we can collaborate on it. All of these little post-its here have names, so the students would be able to double-click and type their name in there and let me know how they're feeling today. Maybe I don't want to have them put their name, but I want them to do their numbers. So instead of it saying name, maybe I have a bunch of number cards down here at the bottom, and the students actually click and drag their number into how they're feeling today. Again, and just a little quick check-in, and this might be something that they do right at the beginning of the Google Meet or something that they do throughout the day. Again, this could be an activity that could happen during remote learning or during in-person learning as well. Same thing with all of these other activities. These could easily happen in person as well as remotely. So let's get started on how do we actually create activities like this and take a tour of a blank Jamboard. So I can start in a few different places. I can either go to my Google Drive or I can type in jamboard.google.com to get started. I'm going to go into my Google Drive. I can create a folder with my Jamboard boards or put them within a folder. So maybe I've got like a second grade folder and I want to organize the information for the school year. I can put it anywhere in my Google Drive. So I'm going to come up to the top left hand corner and click Create, More, and then it's going to be one of my options down here. So I can see Google Jamboard there. And then we're just going to take a really quick tour of all the things that we can add on the left-hand side. For K1 teachers, there will be an additional video showing you the Jamboard app, which has a couple extra features in it. So be sure to check that out in addition to this video. So just working along the top here, very similar to other Google products, we can rename our Jamboard. If I just click the title up there, I'm able to rename it. So I'm going to name mine August 31st. Maybe this is the activity that we're going to do today. Down underneath that, I have my undo and my redo button. I can zoom in as well. The Jamboard really can't be resized at all. This is the space that you get. So if you need to zoom in, you're able to do that here. I can add some backgrounds. I cannot add my own background, but as you may have seen from some of these other options, like this morning meeting check-in, there is what appears to be a background here, and I'll show you how this teacher created this one. But I can add a couple backgrounds like dots, lines, a grid, as well as 2 different colors. So there are a few different backgrounds in there. If I wanted to clear out the frame, we wanted to completely start fresh, we can clear the frame up here as well. And then moving along the left-hand side, these are the tools that I get to work within my Jamboard. So the first one is a pen tool. I can select that, which gives me the pen. You can kind of see this black dot here. I have a pen tool. But if I select it again, I get even more options. I get a pen, a marker, a highlighter, and a brush, as well as several different colors. Now this is a really great tool on the iPads, so keep that in mind. Obviously our Chromebook students can use this, or you can use it with your touchscreen, but it is really nice either on the touchscreen or on the iPads. After that, I have an eraser. So if I'd like to erase what I just did, or I need to clear that out, not clear everything from my frame maybe, but just clear out some of the work that I did there, I'm able to do that with my eraser. If I want to move objects around, I'll want to be sure that I'm on this arrow here. So looking back at like my place value one, I was selected on the arrow before I started to move things around. Underneath that, we have our sticky notes. These come in several different colors, as well as no color at all, but these are an easy way to pull out information. So it might just be maybe the students, almost like Padlet, where the students are going to be crowdsourcing some ideas. They can add a sticky note on there. On my place value one, I used a sticky note up here at the top corner to pull out the number that we were going to be working with. On the morning meeting here, we don't have any sticky notes, but we could add sticky notes for today is. We could have, instead of adding a text box, we could have made Monday a sticky note. For my check-ins, we had our name sticky notes. So if we wanted to create, let's say, our number sticky notes, I can add a number, and it gets added easily. So I'm able to quickly add, let's say I've got 10 kiddos that are going to be working on this check-in activity. So I'm going to quickly create all 10 of their numbers. And now I'm able to, I can leave them up there, and then I can put my smiley faces along the bottom here, and they can pull themselves into the categories that they belong in, however I want to do that. But it makes it very easy to create numbers, and then the students can actually click and drag their number wherever they like. These can be numbers, these can be names, these can be phrases. Maybe your students are going to be retelling a story, so you actually have the 5 parts of the story, and the students are going to be putting them back in order. They could be across a timeline, however, maybe even creating number sentences, something along those lines. But sticky notes are an easy way then to pull out that information versus just putting it in a text box. Underneath my sticky notes, I have the ability to add an image, and this is going to allow me to add an image from my computer, do a Google image search from my Google Drive. If I look back at my place value one, these 100 blocks, 10s blocks, and even these 1 blocks, those are all images. Same thing with my calendar one. These days right here, these are all images. And with my check-in, this here is an image. Now what you'll notice with the check-in one, and you can kind of see it right now, this image that looks like it's in the background is actually just a really big image. So when I created my place value one, I needed a place for them to actually put their number blocks. So I created an image that said hundreds, 10s, and 1s. I added it to my Jamboard, which when I added it, when I added it, it came in kind of small, came in about, I don't know, this big. And then what I did here is I just lined it up in my corner and I made it larger so that it would actually fit that space. So if you're wanting to create a background for your students, all you need to do is just create an image somewhere. Maybe you're building it in drawings or in slides, and then you can add the background. You can also, as I mentioned, add smaller images that the students are able to drag around, manipulatives, whatever kind of manipulatives you want. If you just need maybe simple shapes in your manipulatives, you can always add shapes to this Jamboard as well. So we do have a couple generic shapes that you're able to add. The circle would be great if you're going to do maybe a 10-frame fill, something along those lines. Then you can actually have the students just use the shapes that are already within Jamboard. Underneath that, you saw me use the text box earlier. When you select the text box, students will just click anywhere on the Jamboard and they can begin typing. They're able to drag this around. They can also rotate it. They can duplicate it, delete it. For order, that's just deciding if the text is going to be, let's say I put this text over my sticky note here and I actually want it to be behind the sticky note, I could send it to the back there as well. So however I want to order those things, I'm able to do that. And then finally, I get a laser pointer. This is really great if we're going to be looking at doing this again during a Google Meet, something along those lines. It's an easy way to show students where you are. So maybe in my Google Meet, I come here and I say, okay, today is it windy? Is it stormy? Is it rainy? Because the students can't really see you pointing at something. So this just allows you to kind of highlight what you're reading during a Google Meet to the students. So a nice little extra tool there. In our next video, we're going to go through creating an activity. So now that we have taken the tour of Jamboard, we're going to actually look at creating the activity.